All right, I'm going to go over each of these questions for your graphing quiz that's coming up. So you can repeat any of these that you need to hear again or skip through the ones that you already know. But I'll go through them in order here. And you're going to have a few of these where you're going to have to graph. And so remember, every graph you got to use graph paper and a ruler. And don't forget to label everything, and every graph should have a title as well. So for number 1, which types of graphs can be used to display qualitative or categorical data? There's only 2 kinds. So it's going to be a bar graph and a pie chart. Those are the 2 ways to display qualitative data. If I want to compare the percent of people that own a dog, a cat, both, or neither, which type of graph would be best to use? So that's going to be categorical, so it'd either be bar graph or pie chart. So pie chart is going to be parts of a whole, and this is where you're comparing totally different things. So you can think of this as parts of a whole because it's all about owning dogs and cats. It's not like totally different random things. So this would be good to use a pie chart for. Again, since all of these are about owning a dog or a cat, those are all parts of a whole. So if you think about, you either own a dog or you own a cat, or you can own both, or you can own neither. There's no other options there. So a pie chart would be best to compare those data. Okay, number 3, we are going to graph this data using a dot plot. So you're going to have a separate piece of graph paper that you'll staple to the back of this. And on that graph paper, you want to put your entire heading here, your complete heading, and title it Graphing Quiz. And then we are going to number this. This is number 3. So put number 3 here. And on our dot plot, all you need is the x-axis. So I'm going to put it about here, and using my ruler, draw a straight line. Oops, the ruler moved on me a little bit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the smallest number and biggest number to see what my range is, to see what I'm going to count, how far I need to go. So it looks like 12 is the largest, 3 is maybe the smallest. Okay, so I think that will fit if I just start. I can start here at 0 and skip a line if I want and count by ones, or you don't have to skip a line, it can be a little bit smaller. But you guys know I like to skip lines sometimes, so I'll go ahead and do that to make it spaced out. And I'll go along here and label this. Remember, with dot plots, you can't count by 2s or count by 5s or 10s. You have to count by 1s on these graphs. Okay, so once I got to 12, the maximum, you guys know how I like to go a little extra, so go ahead and put a 13. So I started a little below and go a little extra. I had my line extended, I just erased that extra there. And then I'm just going to go through and cross it off as I graph it. So remember, so each of these labels are on a blue line, and each dot is going to be on a blue line where it crosses. So there's a 12, and a 5, cross it off, and an 8, and so on. Okay, so now when you have a second 12, go to the next line where they cross. So they're all evenly spaced. So the second 5 should be right there at the second blue line. Here's what your final dot plot should look like. So just make sure that you have 1 at 3, 2 at 4, 4 of them at the number 5, and so on. Also, you wanted to make sure you didn't miss any numbers. You can count how many numbers are here and make sure that you have the same number of dots. And then we just need to label and title, which I didn't give. Oh, I'll change this. I didn't give any units for what these numbers are. And so let's just write the word units, but I'll give units on your quiz so you can have like a real label here. And then I'll say quiz dot plot. Sorry, so I'll give context for all these this data sets so that you can have a good title and a good label. So here I said if I multiplied each number above by 100, would a dot plot still be the best method? So think about that. The smallest number instead of 3 would now be 300. And the biggest number instead of 12 would now be 1200. And dot plots need to count by ones. So you'd have to go from 300 to 1200. That's way too many lines. So a dot plot would not. So you would say no, because with a dot plot, we need to count by ones. So that would be way too large. It is too large for us to graph that on one graph paper. So then what are the differences between a bar chart and a histogram? So the two main differences we talked about is a bar chart has gaps between the bars. And the bars are touching with the histogram. And then the other reason, or the other difference, is the type of data they graph. So a bar chart is for qualitative data, and a histogram is for quantitative. Whoops, I put bar chart. That's funny. So qualitative, you can also put categorical, that's fine. And quantitative means that it's with numbers. So if you said it's categories and numbers, that would be an acceptable answer as well. There is only one graph where we connect dots with straight lines. So you have all the dots and you connect the dots. The only one you do that is with a line chart or a line graph. And it shows, you know, over how something changes over time. So something goes up and then down and up, like maybe temperature or how much snowfall we've had this winter and it went way up, sort of thing. So that would be a line graph where it's showing all the changes over time. In what situations would you choose a box plot instead of a stem plot? So remember, stem and leaf plot would be where you have to actually write these numbers out, whatever your data is, but it looks kind of like this. So if, say, we had a large data set, like 100 numbers or 80 numbers, you wouldn't want a stem and leaf plot because that's way too many numbers to write. So we'd want a box plot instead for that situation. So we choose a box plot if we have a large data set. Meaning if there are lots of numbers. You don't want to write them all out. Also, another reason you could say is if you don't need to see the individual numbers, a box plot's good. But if I need to see how many 15s there were, how many 3s there were, then the box plot would not be good. In number 8, I'm asking the 5 numbers you need to make a box plot. So I'm asking for the 5-number summary. And I'm not asking for the numbers because I didn't give you any data to get the numbers. It's just what are they called. So those 5 numbers you need are the minimum, the maximum, the median, quartile 1, and quartile 3, which you can just abbreviate with the Q's. But those are the 5 numbers for the 5-number summary. Okay, number 9, we are graphing again. So you're going to go back to your graph paper and make sure you label this number 9 here. And again, all the data I gave you is just a list of numbers. So I'll change that and I'll give it context so you can give a good title and label. We're going to use a stem plot. So we're going to do our quiz stem plot is going to be my title. And you need a ruler to draw the vertical line, like that. And then I look at the numbers. So we have the smallest number looks like maybe a 4, and the largest 40, 50, 52 maybe. So I have a single digit number, so now I'm going to start at 0 and up to 50, so I need to go up to 5. So this is going to be like the tens place, and this is going to be the ones place on this stem plot. And we always put these in order. So I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to at least go to 5. If there's any 60s in there, I'll add the 6 if I just missed it. So starting with the single digits, I'm going to circle them on here, because you have to put these in order before I write them down. So I'm going to find everything that's a single digit. There they all are. And then record them in order on my graph. So I'm going to, don't fold this, I'm going to fold it just so you can see what I'm doing on the camera here with these numbers. So the smallest number is 4, so put a 4 here. That means there's one 4, and there's actually 2 4s, so put another one. So I recorded those 2. And then we have a 5, and then we have 2 7s, and a 9. So put those in order. And notice on the graph paper, every square is a number, so all the numbers are evenly spaced. It's really important that they're evenly spaced for each one. Now I'm going to circle everything with a 1 in the tens place. Okay, so I circled everything with the 1, and I find the smallest, so a 10, so that means I'd put a 0 here, 1 0 for the 10. And the next smallest is 14, so put a 4. And then we have 2 15s. And then the 18, so an 8 here. Okay, next I do the 20, so 2 in the tens place. I circled each of those and put them in order, so 23 is the smallest, and then 25, so put a 5, and 26, so put a 6 here. 23, 25, and this means 26. So those 3 have been graphed. Now I circle everything in the 30s. So I'm going to put these in order, and so on. After you graph all these, count how many numbers you graphed, count how many numbers in the data set, make sure they are the same, and put on your labels. And stem plots also have a key. Okay, I have the title. I counted these numbers, made sure that they're the same, so those are the numbers you should have in your stem plot. And remember the key, so the 5/2, show what that equals. Does that equal 5.2? Does it equal 520? It equals 52, so I'm showing this equals 52. So that tells me this is the tens place, and these numbers are in the ones place. So that is your stem plot. Video 2 will continue from number 10 on.